The taste of betrayal is bitter, and it lingers long after the initial shock fades. I never thought I'd experience it firsthand, let alone from the people I trusted most in this world. But here I am, Vanessa Mitchell, standing in the living room of the house I bought, surrounded by the family I've supported for years, watching as they tear my world apart. "You need to leave, Vanessa," my sister Megan says, her voice cold and unfamiliar. "We've decided it's best for everyone if you're not part of this family anymore." I blink, certain I've misheard. The room spins and I grab onto the back of the sofa to steady myself. "What are you talking about? This is my house. I've worked hard to provide for all of you. How can you just—" "Oh, please," my mother interrupts, rolling her eyes. "You've always thought you were better than us, haven't you? Little Miss Perfect, with her fancy job and her charity work. Well, we're sick of living in your shadow." The words hit me like a physical blow. I look around at the faces of my family members, my father avoiding eye contact, my younger brother Tom staring at his feet, and Megan, her eyes blazing with a mix of triumph and barely concealed hatred. "I don't understand," I whisper, my voice trembling. "What have I done to deserve this?" Megan steps forward, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palms. "You've done everything, Vanessa. You've always been the golden child, the one everyone praised and admired. Do you have any idea what it's like to live with that? To always be compared to you and found wanting?" I shake my head, struggling to process her words. "Megan, I never meant to—" "Save it," she snaps. "We don't want to hear your excuses. We've made our decision. You have an hour to pack your things and leave. After that, we're changing the locks." The finality in her voice sends a chill down my spine. This isn't a misunderstanding or a heated argument that will blow over. This is a carefully orchestrated coup, and I've been blindsided. As I stumble up the stairs to my bedroom, my mind races. How long have they been planning this? What could I have done differently? The questions swirl in my head as I mechanically throw clothes into a suitcase, barely registering what I'm packing. I pause at my dresser, my eyes landing on a framed photo of Jonathan and me, my fiancé, smiling and carefree, his arms wrapped around me at our favorite beach. The sight of him sends a fresh wave of pain through my chest. If he were here, none of this would be happening. But he's gone, taken from me in a senseless accident 2 years ago, leaving me alone to face this betrayal. With shaking hands, I place the photo in my bag, along with a few other precious mementos. As I zip up the suitcase, I hear footsteps approaching. Megan appears in the doorway, her arms crossed. "Time's up," she says, her voice devoid of emotion. "I'll walk you out." I want to scream, to fight, to demand answers, but the shock has left me numb, and I follow her silently down the stairs. At the front door, I turn to face my family one last time. "Why?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. "After everything we've been through together, why are you doing this?" My father finally meets my gaze, and for a moment, I see a flicker of regret in his eyes, but it's quickly replaced by a hardness I've never seen before. "It's for the best, Vanessa. You'll understand someday." And with that, the door closes in my face. I stand there, staring at the polished wood, listening to the sound of the locks being changed. The finality of it all hits me, and I sink to my knees on the porch, tears streaming down my face. As the sun sets, casting long shadows across the manicured lawn, I realize I have nowhere to go. My entire life has been centered around this family, this house. I've poured everything I had into supporting them, believing we were a team. Now I'm alone, cast out like yesterday's garbage. With trembling fingers, I pull out my phone and scroll through my contacts. Who can I trust? Who won't turn their back on me like my family just did? My finger hovers over Ethan's name, my best friend since college, the one person who's always been there for me, even when Jonathan died. I take a deep breath and press call. As the phone rings, I silently pray that Ethan will answer, that he won't have somehow been turned against me too. Vanessa? Ethan's warm voice fills the line, and I nearly collapse with relief. What's wrong? You sound terrible. The concern in his voice breaks the last of my composure, and I start sobbing uncontrollably. Through hiccuping breaths, I manage to choke out, "They kicked me out, Ethan. My family. They said they don't want me anymore. I don't know what to do." There's a pause on the other end of the line, and for a heart-stopping moment, I fear he's going to hang up. But then he speaks, his voice filled with a mixture of anger and determination. "Stay where you are. I'm coming to get you. We'll figure this out together, okay?" As I wait for Ethan, I try to piece together what just happened. The shock is starting to wear off, replaced by a simmering anger. How dare they treat me like this, after everything I've sacrificed for them? Ethan's car pulls up, and he jumps out, rushing to my side. Without a word, he wraps me in a tight hug, and I let myself fall apart in his arms. He doesn't ask questions, doesn't try to fix things with empty platitudes. He just holds me, letting me cry until I have no tears left. Finally, he pulls back, his hands on my shoulders. "Let's get you out of here," he says softly. "You can stay with me for as long as you need." As we drive away, I watch my childhood home disappear in the rearview mirror. The life I thought I knew is gone, shattered like a mirror dropped on concrete. But as I glance at Ethan's determined profile, I feel a tiny spark of hope. I'm not alone. And somehow I'll find a way to rebuild. The next few days pass in a blur of grief and confusion. Ethan's spare room becomes my sanctuary, a place where I can lick my wounds and try to make sense of what happened. He gives me space when I need it and listens without judgment when I'm ready to talk. It's on the third day that the anger truly sets in. I'm pacing Ethan's living room, my hands clenched into fists. "I just don't understand," I say for what feels like the 100th time. "How could they do this to me, after everything I've done for them?" Ethan leans forward on the couch, his brow furrowed in concern. "Vanessa, I think it's time we start digging. This doesn't add up. There has to be more to the story." I stop pacing and look at him. "What do you mean?" He stands up and starts ticking points off on his fingers. 1, your family has never shown any signs of resentment before. 2, this was clearly planned in advance. And 3, they seemed awfully eager to get you out of that house. Don't you think that's strange? As his words sink in, I feel a chill run down my spine. He's right. This wasn't a spontaneous decision fueled by long-hidden resentment. This was calculated, cold, and deliberate. "Okay," I say, taking a deep breath. "Where do we start?" Ethan grins, a hint of his old mischievous self shining through. "We start by following the money. You've been handling your family's finances for years, right? Let's take a closer look at those accounts." We spend the next few hours hunched over Ethan's laptop, pouring through bank statements and financial records. As we dig deeper, a disturbing pattern begins to emerge. "Ethan," I say, my voice barely above a whisper, "look at this." I point to a series of large transfers from my personal account to an offshore bank. "I never authorized these." He leans in, his eyes widening. "And look at the dates. They all correspond with major milestones in your career. Your promotion, that big contract you landed last year." The pieces start falling into place, and I feel sick to my stomach. They've been siphoning money from me for years, but why now? Why kick me out? Ethan's expression darkens. "Because they knew you were getting close to figuring it out. Look at this email." He pulls up a message from my work account, one I don't remember seeing. It's from the accounting department, asking about discrepancies in the company's charitable donations. The ones you oversee. My heart races as I read the email. It's dated just 2 days before my family's ambush. They were covering their tracks, I whisper. They knew I'd discover the fraud eventually, so they decided to discredit me first. The realization hits me like a punch to the gut. My own family, the people I trusted most in this world, had not only been stealing from me, but were now actively trying to ruin my reputation to cover their tracks. Ethan places a comforting hand on my shoulder. Vanessa, I'm so sorry, but we have the evidence now. We can fight back. I nod, a newfound determination coursing through me. You're right, but we need to be smart about this. They've had years to plan their moves. We need to be one step ahead. Over. The next few weeks, Ethan and I work tirelessly to unravel the web of deceit my family has woven. We discover forged documents, manipulated records, and a trail of lies that goes back further than I could have imagined. But it's not just financial fraud we uncover. As we dig deeper, we find evidence of a systematic campaign to undermine my career and reputation. Anonymous complaints to my workplace, whisper campaigns among our social circle, even a fake social media account used to spread rumors about me. The extent of their betrayal is staggering. Every success I thought I'd achieved on my own merit had been tainted by their machinations. They'd built me up only to tear me down, using my accomplishments as a smokescreen for their own greed. One night, as Ethan and I are reviewing our findings, he looks at me with a mix of anger and admiration. Vanessa, you realize what this means, right? You have enough evidence here to destroy them. One call to the authorities and your family would be facing serious charges. I lean back in my chair, closing my eyes as the weight of the decision settles on my shoulders. Part of me wants to do exactly that. To make them pay for every lie, every betrayal, every moment of pain they've caused me. But another part, the part that still remembers the good times, the love I thought we shared, hesitates. I don't know. Ethan, I say, opening my eyes to meet his gaze. Revenge feels hollow. Yes, they hurt me. Yes, they betrayed me in the worst possible way. But destroying them won't undo what's been done. It won't heal the pain I'm feeling. Ethan nods slowly, understanding in his eyes. So, what do you want to do? I take a deep breath, the beginnings of a plan forming in my mind. I want justice, not vengeance. I want to reclaim what's mine and use it to do something good, something that would make Jonathan proud. As I say his name, I feel a familiar ache in my chest. Jonathan had always believed in me, had always encouraged me to use my skills to make a difference in the world. What would he think of all this? Ethan leans forward, his expression serious. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. But Vanessa, you need to be prepared. Your family won't go down without a fight. I nod, feeling a strange calm settle over me. I know, but neither will I. They thought they could break me, Ethan. They were wrong. I'm stronger than they ever gave me credit for. As we start to formulate our plan, my phone buzzes with an incoming email. I glance at it, ready to dismiss it as unimportant, but the subject line catches my eye. Urgent, regarding the estate of Harold Mitchell. Frowning, I open the email. Harold Mitchell was my uncle, my father's estranged brother. I'd only met him a handful of times throughout my life, and as far as I knew, he'd passed away years ago. As I read the email, my eyes widen in disbelief. Ethan, I say, my voice shaking slightly, you're not going to believe this. He moves to read over my shoulder, and I hear his sharp intake of breath. A house? Your uncle left you a house? I nod, still struggling to process the information. Apparently, he made provisions in his will for me to inherit his property. But there's a catch. I have to live in the house for a full year before I can claim full ownership. Ethan whistles low. Talk about timing. Do you think your family knew about this? I shake my head, scrolling through the email. It doesn't look like it. The lawyer says he was instructed to only contact me directly, and only after a certain amount of time had passed since Uncle Harold's death. Which, coincidentally, was almost exactly a year ago. A slow smile spreads across Ethan's face. Vanessa, don't you see? This is perfect. It's a fresh start, a place where you can regroup and plan your next move. And it's something your family can't touch. As his words sink in, I feel a glimmer of hope ignite in my chest. He's right. This house, this unexpected inheritance, could be exactly what I need to turn things around. Okay, I say, a newfound determination in my voice. Let's do this. Let's go see this house. The next day, Ethan and I drive out to the address provided in the email. As we pull up to the property, I feel my breath catch in my throat. The house is beautiful. A sprawling Victorian with a wraparound porch and intricate gingerbread trim. It's set back from the road, surrounded by old growth trees that provide a sense of privacy and seclusion. Wow, Ethan says as we get out of the car. Your uncle had good taste. I nod, still taking in the sight. It's a far cry from the modern, minimalist home I shared with my family. This place feels different, warmer somehow, like it has stories to tell. We meet the lawyer on the front porch, and he hands me a thick envelope containing the keys and all the necessary paperwork. As he goes over the details of my uncle's will, I find myself only half listening, my mind already racing with possibilities. Once the lawyer leaves, Ethan and I step inside. The interior is just as impressive as the exterior. High ceilings, hardwood floors, and large windows that let in plenty of natural light. It's dusty and in need of some TLC, but I can see the potential. So, Ethan says, turning to me with a grin. What's the plan, boss? I take a deep breath, feeling more centered than I have in weeks. First, we clean. Then we strategize. This house, it's not just a place to live. It's a chance to start over, to build something new. As we spend the next few days cleaning and exploring the house, an idea begins to take shape in my mind. I think about Jonathan, about the dreams we shared of making a difference in the world. I think about my family's betrayal and how I refuse to let their actions define me. One evening, as Ethan and I sit on the porch watching the sunset, I turn to him. I think I know what I want to do with this place, I say softly. He raises an eyebrow, waiting for me to continue. I want to turn it into a foundation, I say, the words tumbling out as the idea solidifies. A place that helps people who've been victims of fraud or financial abuse. We could offer legal aid, counseling, job training, all the things I wish I'd had when my world fell apart. Ethan's face lights up. Vanessa, that's brilliant. It's the perfect way to turn this whole mess into something positive. I nod, feeling a sense of purpose wash over me. And I want to name it after Jonathan. The Jonathan Reeves Foundation for Financial Recovery and Empowerment. He always believed in using our success to help others. This feels like the right way to honor his memory. Ethan reaches out and squeezes my hand. He would be so proud of you, Vanessa. And so am I. As the weeks pass, I throw myself into making my vision a reality. I reach out to lawyers, accountants, and nonprofit experts, laying the groundwork for the foundation. It's exhausting work, but it gives me a sense of purpose I haven't felt since before Jonathan's death. Throughout it all, Ethan remains by my side, offering support, advice, and the occasional much-needed reality check. His unwavering loyalty is a balm to my wounded heart, reminding me that not everyone in my life is capable of such deep betrayal. It's during this time that I receive an unexpected visitor. I'm in the study, poring over paperwork, when I hear a tentative knock at the front door. Curious, I make my way downstairs, only to freeze in shock when I open the door. Tom, my younger brother, stands on the porch, looking pale and nervous. "Hey, Vanessa," he says, his voice barely above a whisper. "Can we talk?" For a moment, I consider slamming the door in his face. The pain of his betrayal is still raw, a wound that hasn't even begun to heal. But something in his expression, a mixture of guilt and desperation, makes me pause. 5 minutes, I say, my voice cold. That's all you get, he nods, following me into the living room. We sit in awkward silence for a moment before he finally speaks. I'm sorry, he blurts out. I'm so sorry, Vanessa. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't know what else to do. I feel my anger rising, threatening to choke me. You didn't know what else to do? How about standing up for me? How about telling the truth? Tom flinches at my words but doesn't back down. You don't understand. Megan, she had dirt on all of us. She threatened to expose everyone's secrets if we didn't go along with her plan. I lean forward, my eyes narrowing. What kind of secrets, Tom? What could possibly justify what you all did to me? He takes a deep breath, his hands shaking slightly. Dad's gambling debts, Mom's affair, my drug problem. Megan found out about all of it, and she used it to manipulate us. She convinced us that you were the real threat, that you were going to cut us all off if you found out the truth. I listen to Tom's confession. I feel a mixture of emotions wash over me. Anger, sadness, disappointment, and a tiny flicker of understanding. It doesn't excuse what they did, but it helps explain the why. And Megan? I ask, my voice barely above. A whisper. What's her excuse? Tom shakes his head, looking defeated. Jealousy, I think, and greed. She always resented your success, your relationship with Jonathan. When he died, I think something in her snapped. She saw an opportunity to take everything you had, and she took it. I sit back, processing this new information. It doesn't erase the pain of what they've done, but it does shed light on the complex web of lies and manipulation that led to my exile. Why are you telling me this now? I ask, studying Tom's face. He meets my gaze, and I see genuine remorse in his eyes. Because I can't live with the guilt anymore, and because I miss my sister. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, Vanessa. But I hoped that maybe, if you understood why it happened, it might help you heal. I'm silent for a long moment, weighing his words against the hurt I've suffered. Finally, I speak. I appreciate you coming here, Tom. I can't forgive you. Not yet. The wound is still too fresh. But thank you for telling me the truth. It's more than the rest of them have done. He nods, standing up to leave. At the door, he turns back to me. For what it's worth, I think what you're doing with this place is amazing. Jonathan would be proud. As I watch him walk away, I feel a strange mix of emotions. The betrayal still stings, but Tom's visit has given me something I didn't realize I needed. Context. Understanding the motivations behind my family's actions doesn't excuse them, but it does help me start to process what happened. That night, as I lie in bed, I find myself thinking about forgiveness. Not for my family's sake, but for my own. Holding on to this anger and pain is exhausting, and it's keeping me tethered to the past. If I'm going to move forward, if I'm going to make this foundation a success, I need to find a way to let go. The next morning, I wake up with a renewed sense of purpose. I may not be ready to forgive my family, but I am ready to focus on the future. I throw myself into the work of setting up the foundation with even more determination. Weeks turn into months, and slowly but surely, the Jonathan Reeves Foundation for Financial Recovery and Empowerment takes shape. We renovate parts of the house to create office spaces and counseling rooms. I hire a small staff of dedicated professionals, lawyers, financial advisors, and therapists, all committed to helping people rebuild their lives after financial betrayal. As word spreads about what we're doing, we start to receive our first clients. Each story I hear reminds me of my own journey, and I find healing in being able to offer the support and resources I wish I'd had when my world fell apart. One afternoon, As I'm wrapping up a meeting with our legal team, Ethan pokes his head into the office. "Vanessa, you need to see this," he says, his expression serious. I follow him to the living room, where the TV is tuned to a local news channel. My heart stops when I see Megan's face on the screen, looking pale and disheveled as she's led away, in handcuffs. The reporter's voice fills the room. In a shocking turn of events, Megan Mitchell, daughter of prominent businessman Richard Mitchell, has been arrested on charges of embezzlement and fraud. Sources say the arrest is tied to irregularities in the family's charitable foundation. I sink onto the couch, my mind reeling. This is it, the moment when everything comes crashing down for my family. Part of me feels a grim satisfaction, a sense that justice is finally being served. But another part aches for the pain and humiliation they must be feeling. Ethan sits beside me, his hand finding mine. "Are you okay?" he asks softly. I take a deep breath, squeezing his hand. "I don't know," I admit. "I thought I wanted this. But now that it's happening, I just feel sad. For all of us." He nods, understanding in his eyes. "It's okay to feel conflicted, Vanessa. They're still your family, even after everything they've done." As we watch the news unfold over the next few days, I find myself at a crossroads. My family's actions are now public knowledge, their crimes exposed for all to see. I could easily step forward, add my voice to the chorus of condemnation. It would be the final nail in the coffin of their reputation. But as I stand in front of the mirror one morning, preparing for another day at the foundation, I realize that's not who I want to be. I don't want to be defined by their betrayal or by my desire for revenge. I want to be defined by what I've built, by the lives I'm helping to change. With that realization comes a sense of peace I haven't felt in months. I may never fully trust my family again, but I can choose to let go of the anger and bitterness that have been weighing me down. That afternoon, I call a meeting with the foundation's staff. As I look around at the faces of these people who have become my new family, I feel a surge of gratitude and pride. "I know many of you have seen the news about my family," I begin, my voice steady. "I want to assure you that the Foundation's work will continue unaffected, but I also want to announce a new initiative." I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of my decision. We're going to offer our services to families affected by white-collar crime, including the families of the perpetrators. These people often find themselves victims too, left to pick up the pieces of shattered lives and reputations. We're going to help them rebuild, just like we help everyone else. There's a moment of stunned silence, then a burst of applause. As I look around at the approving faces, I catch Ethan's eye. He's beaming at me, pride and something else, something warmer, shining in his eyes. In the weeks that follow, I throw myself into this new initiative. It's challenging work, fraught with complex emotions and difficult conversations. But it's also deeply rewarding. With each family we help, I feel like I'm not just rebuilding my own life, but helping to heal a wider circle of pain and betrayal. It's nearly a year to the day since I was kicked out of my family home when I receive another unexpected visitor. This time, it's my father standing on the porch, looking older and more defeated than I've ever seen him. "Vanessa," he says, his voice rough with emotion. "I know I have no right to be here, but I needed to see you, to try to explain." For a moment, I'm tempted to turn him away. But then I think about everything I've learned over the past year, about forgiveness, about healing, about the complex web of human emotions that can lead people to make terrible choices. "Come in, Dad," I say softly, stepping aside to let him enter. We sit in the same living room where I confronted Tom all those months ago. The silence stretches between us, heavy with unspoken words and painful memories. Finally, my father speaks. "I failed you," he says, his voice breaking. "As a father, as a man, I failed you in every way possible. I let my own weaknesses and Fears blind me to what was really happening. I believed Megan's lies because it was easier than facing the truth about myself. I listen in silence, feeling the last of my anger melting away, replaced by a deep sadness for everything we've lost. I don't expect you to forgive me, he continues. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know how proud I am of you, Vanessa. What you've built here, the lives you're changing, it's extraordinary. You're extraordinary. Tears prick at my eyes, and I blink them away. Thank you, Dad, I say softly. That means a lot to me. We talk for hours, laying bare the hurt and betrayal of the past year. It's not an easy conversation, but it's a necessary one. By the time he leaves, I feel like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. That night, as I sit on the porch watching the sunset, Ethan joins me. We sit in comfortable silence for a while before he speaks. You're amazing, you know that? He says, his voice full of admiration. After everything you've been through, you still found a way to turn it into something beautiful, something that helps people. I turn to look at him, really look at him, and I'm struck by the depth of emotion I see in his eyes. It's been there all along, I realize, but I've been too caught up in my own pain to see it. I couldn't have done it without you, I say softly. You've been my rock through all of this, Ethan. I don't know how to thank you. He reaches out, taking my hand in his. You don't have to thank me, Vanessa. Being here with you, watching you rebuild your life and help others do the same, it's been an honor. And if I'm being honest, it's made me fall in love with you all over again. My heart skips a beat at his words. For the first time since Jonathan's death, I feel a flicker of hope for my own future. Not just professionally, but personally too. Ethan, I whisper, leaning in closer. I think I'm falling in love with you too. As our lips meet in a gentle kiss, I feel the last pieces of my broken heart start to mend. The betrayal that shattered my world has led me here, to this moment, to this man, to this purpose. It hasn't been an easy journey, but as I look out at the setting sun, I realize it's been a necessary one. The Jonathan Reeves Foundation stands as a testament to the power of resilience, of turning pain into purpose. And as I lean into Ethan's embrace, I know that whatever challenges the future holds, I won't face them alone. The house that was meant to be my prison has become my sanctuary, a place of healing not just for me, but for countless others. As I think about the year ahead, about the lives we'll touch and the difference we'll make, I feel a sense of peace settle over me. I've learned that betrayal doesn't have to define you. It's what you do in the aftermath that truly matters. And I've chosen to build something new, something meaningful, from the ashes of my old life. As the stars begin to twinkle in the darkening sky, I make a silent promise to myself and to Jonathan's memory. I will continue to grow, to heal, to help others find their way out of the darkness. Because in the end, that's the best revenge of all. Not destruction, but creation. Not hatred, but love. And as Ethan and I sit hand in hand, watching the night unfold, I know that this is just the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter filled with hope, with purpose, and with the knowledge that even from the deepest betrayal, something beautiful can grow.